Destroy WrestleTalk.
Soon everything will be Fakeador.
Samoa Joe wins the United States Championship, Mustafa Ali returns, and even though he's not at work, Big E still watches TV the only way he's been taught how to. And has Dolph Ziggler actually left WWE for super duper realsies this time? Use the timestamps down below to skip ahead to Ollie Davis's news if that tickles your fancy. I am Luke Owen, press the thumbs up and subscribe to this channel, and answer our question of the day in the comments down below. What would you call Rowan's claw slam finishing move? And vote in the poll above my head to let me know what you thought of the show, where you can choose from Smackdown, Smacktastic, Smack Bang in the Middle, Smackdowner, and a smack in the face. This is the 5th of March 2019 edition of Smackdown Live. After a graphic for the late King Kong Bundy, Daniel Bryan opened the show saying he remained silent last week when Kofi Kingston was trying to sign his contract and didn't say anything when Kevin Owens replaced him. But now it's his turn to speak, saying WWE replaced a man who hands out copious amounts of pancakes with a man who eats copious amounts of pancakes. Owens came out to ask why Bryan was making cheap fat jokes, continuing his gimmick of being the everyman of WWE. He's just a regular chap, just like you and I. He then got into a scuffle with Bryan and Rowan, with the Big Redwood laying him out with a claw slam. Remember to drop your suggestions on what to call that move down below. The Usos cut a promo on their Fastlane baby challengers, The Miz and Shane McMahon, which led to Miz pinning Jey Uso quickly with a skull-crushing finale from out of nowhere. Truth and Carmella came out for more talking next, this time about Truth United States Open Challenge. He made more references to John Cena, asking if he really did this Open Challenge gimmick every week, as he's only done it once and he's exhausted. Lacey Evans seemingly answered the challenge, but it was just her doing her baffling catwalk gimmick, which I guess will have a point somewhere soon. Truth thought that with Evans walking to the back, he wouldn't have to defend his title, but he was quickly interrupted by Samoa Joe, Rey Mysterio, and Andrade, which led to a fatal four-way for Truth's US Championship. This was a really good TV match, which started off pretty slow with Joe systematically destroying all of his opponents, but then turned into insanity in the final third, with a Canadian Destroyer, Rey using the 619 to stop Joe's Coquina Clutch, and a sunset flip powerbomb to the floor. Zelina Vega took Truth out with a Hurricane Rana, and Miller laid her out with a super kick. But back in the ring, Joe broke up a Rey pin with a senton and hit a Uranagi slam for the win to become the new United States champion. I've got to be honest, I was really surprised by all this. With Truth bringing up Cena in his promos and using his moves during matches, it seemed like they were going to lead to a Truth versus Cena match, possibly at WrestleMania. But now that has seemingly transferred to Samoa Joe, who cut a promo backstage calling out Cena among others. New Day cut a promo from India, with Kofi saying they will be at Fastlane, baby! See, even Kofi's in on the Fastlane baby joke. It is funny. After announcing that Aleister Black and Ricochet will face The Revival and Bobby Roode and Chad Gable for the Raw Tag Team titles this Sunday at Fastlane, Black and Ricochet beat SmackDown's The Bar quite easily with a Black Mass and 630 combo. Rusev and Shinsuke Nakamura attacked after the match, but the Hardy Boys ran down for the save. SmackDown's tag team division is stacked right now. Hopefully the Usos can move past Miz and Shane soon so they can get into the mix with all of these guys. After not having a single women's match on Smackdown last week, Mandy Rose took on Naomi in a match that went about 60 seconds, with Rose picking up the win via a Sonya Deville distraction. Was there ever a conclusion to that Rose-Naomi feud? Has that just been dropped? Well, at least it got more airtime than Natalya versus Dana Brooke. Asuka then laid out both Deville and Rose at the top of the ramp to very little reaction. Rey Mysterio will face Andrade at Fastlane baby in the kickoff, because why would you put that bound to be great match on the main card? And Kevin Owens defeated Rowan via DQ when Daniel Bryan jumped up from the commentary booth to beat down Owens. Mustafa Ali then returned to SmackDown to make the save, taking Rowan out with a Hurricane Rana off the table, with Owens sending Bryan packing with a stunner. Earlier in the night, a cocky Charlotte Flair said she wanted a friendly chat with her friend Becky, and Lynch came out to respond for the main event segment, hobbling even more than usual. It does raise the question, how is she even medically cleared for the match this Sunday, even with Steph's hold harmless agreement? After saying she was living inside Charlotte and Ronda Rousey's head, Flair attacked and challenged Becky to get back up and fight, which Becky managed to do, locking in the disarmer as refs pulled her away. This wasn't exactly the hottest go-home angle for this muddled and needlessly convoluted storyline, I'll be honest. And that's how I would describe the rest of the show. Apart from the US 4-way, there wasn't a lot of good wrestling on SmackDown this week, nor was there a lot of build or intrigue for Fastlane baby this Sunday. This week's SmackDown Live, for only the second time in 2019, is smack bang in the middle. And now over to Ollie Davis with the news. And has Dolph Ziggler really left WWE for actual reals this time?
Great review, Luke. Unfortunately, not so great live attendance. Smackdown. WWE's honestly just as important. Don't mention the Survivor Series clean sweep loss with no follow-up brand. Smackdown has seen a few embarrassing photos come out of its live show audiences over the last year, seeing some venues almost half empty. One problem is that after Smackdown goes off air, fans then awkwardly have to sit through an hour of 205 Live before they can watch the dark match main event, which leads to a large portion of the audience leaving. According to Wrestling Inc., that's exactly what happened to AJ Styles and Randy Orton's live show main event last night, as there were apparently under 1,000 people left in the crowd for the match. Possibly even low as 500. Not the best sign for their WrestleMania feud SmackDown appears to be building. And the audience aren't the only people leaving WWE. As Dave Meltzer has reiterated, the current plan is for Ronda Rousey to finish up after WrestleMania 35. Speaking on Wrestling Observer Radio, Meltzer revealed that Ronda's last date with the company is the Raw after Mania. This fits in with what Rousey has previously said in interviews, and what Ric Flair let slip last summer, that Ronda's initial WWE run was only ever planned for 1 year, as she wants to start a family. Watching this week's Raw, you might think she's rather keen to get to that date, as she's been rushing through her in-ring promos at a sometimes incomprehensible speed. It turns out, though, there's actually a very good reason for her slurred delivery on the show, as her resurfaced interview with USA Today from last August reveals. I grew up with apraxia, which is a motor speech disorder. I had years of speech therapy, and I've always had problems slurring or mispronouncing my words. In the ring, it's so important that you speak so clearly and you're easy to understand, and that you don't falter at all. That makes me more nervous and more likely to actually mispronounce things. Of course, the best way around this would be to not book Ronda in so many lengthy in-ring promo segments, or perhaps give her a more silent but deadly character with a manager to do the talking for her. But Ronda isn't the only WWE star with questions over their future, as Dolph Ziggler is reportedly on a break with WWE. Despite rumours of his contract expiring at the end of January, Ziggler entered the Men's Royal Rumble match at number 28 to eliminate Drew McIntyre, implying he'd re-signed with the company. But in the 5 weeks since, there's been no follow-up to the Drew-Dolph rivalry, and Ziggler hasn't been featured on WWE TV at all. Instead, he's been promoting his stand-up comedy dates on Twitter, which runs through to August, although the tour does put him in New York for WrestleMania weekend. PW Insider have reported Ziggler turned down an offer to become a backstage producer in the company, but he will be continuing his relationship with WWE. Now, Dave Meltzer adds that Ziggler is currently on a hiatus from the promotion, presumably to focus on his stand-up tour, and he's not expected back anytime soon. And depending on how you take his tweet over the weekend, he might not be returning at all. Changing the occupation on my Tinder profile from in-between jobs to entrepreneur, so I stand out from the pack.
Oh yeah, take that, Thor. Oh, I'm the champion. Yeah.
Sweet. Smackdown ramble time. We'll cover the Asuka Mandy Rose feud. It's the biggest thing in WWE at the moment, so that's the main topic.
So perfectly booked.
Have you seen all the comments on the channel over the last week?
What about Roman Reigns' cancer being fake?
No. That's obviously a work. It's a storyline. I'm talking about all the people saying, I am El Fagador. We've got Ahmed Anta here, Walou TV, Red Emissary of Darkness. They're all commenting, I am El Fagador. And I'm just a bit concerned with that and all the random people in lucha masks surrounding the building.
Although when you think about it, it does make sense.
I don't know, man. I don't know if it does. It's starting to make me a bit creeped out. I'm worried that something's happening beyond our comprehension. And besides, this is weird. I thought I asked you to look out for stuff.
I am looking out for things. I said I would keep an eye out for anything suspicious, and I found all those wine gums under Randy's desk.
Yes, that was a good day. We all enjoyed the wine gums that we found under Randy's desk. I feel like there's a bigger thing we're missing here. What are you doing?
Well, it's March.
Stop saying it's March.
But Fakador told me to put this on. He gave this to me and said, put this on. I am assimilating you. I am taking over. Screenstalker is coming. You know, the usual stuff he usually talks about.
I just wish he wasn't so cryptic and vague with his words. I feel like he might be the one that's behind all this, but I can't pin anything on him. I don't know. I really feel like the very fate of WrestleTalk is on the line. In fact, to get to the bottom of this, I'm going to have to... Which one's the most dramatic? Which camera? Camera 2, camera, middle camera, this camera here. I'm going to have to journey into the very heart of YouTube once again. No, stop with the mask.
But Fakador told me to put it
Yeah,
on.
I know, that's the point. It's kind of suspicious.
Oh, right, okay.
What's the real reason a WWE star was fired backstage? Click the video on the right to find out. And thank you to our WrestleTalk pledge hammers on Patreon scrolling below. Click the link down there if you want to get your name in the credits too. I've been Ollie Davis, and that was wrestling.